Welcome once again as we kick off the week with an update from the city of New Hope. The mayor joining us to give us the latest of what's happening in the city. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
Hi, Dave. Just fine. What a lovely day it is.
And love the background there. The flowers are in bloom, although I understand not from this area, but still pretty nonetheless.
Yes, complete with a big bug sitting on my shoulder.
We see it there. Hopefully, it doesn't make any roads to you there. Let's talk about some of the things happening in the city. The first is elections. As we're recording this on the Monday, it is election day for the primary tomorrow. So, for those watching us early, what do they need to know? And again, heading to general election, what do residents of New Hope need to know about the election this year?
Well, if you want to vote in the primary and you don't want to wait in line, you can vote at City Hall today on Monday until 5 o'clock this evening. After that, you have to vote at your polling place. And you can find that by going to mnvotes.org, and you'll have to put in your zip code and your address, and it'll tell you where your polling place is. But there is nobody on the city council that's in the primary this time, but there are some federal and state people on the primary ballot. The other elections, we'll talk about that as we get a little closer, but you can't always go into City Hall and vote, but not on the election day.
All right. And once again, that mnvotes.org is a great place to go to find out more information. Let's talk about the last legislative session and a few local senator and a representative that have been honored by a group. Tell us a little more.
We are so fortunate to have Senator Ann Rest and Representative Cedric Frazier, both living in New Hope. They represent us. They have a close tie with the League of Minnesota Cities. When the league has questions, they'll call one of those two and get the answers to the questions. They've been really good about getting legislation for the New Hope area. So they both received the Legislators of Distinction awards from the League of Minnesota Cities, and we're really proud of both of those.
Congratulations to both. Let's move on and talk about the rave awards. We've been talking about this process throughout, and we had a little rain that interrupted the end of the process. So we're having a rescheduled date, correct?
We did have a little rain that interrupted that. So we've got the applications in, they've read them, they're going out to visit the properties on the 13th of August. And so they'll go around and visit all these properties, and then they'll make the nominations for the awards, and we'll probably give those out sometime in late August or maybe early September.
Mayor, always good bringing us a few numbers to keep you up to date on things happening in the city. And the first is the single family to rental conversions. Tell us about that number and also number of inspections. It's been a busy month for staff.
It has. Well, it seems odd, but it seems to work out all the time. So far this year, 11 houses have gone from owner-occupied to rental. And interestingly, 11 houses have gone from rental back to owner-occupied. So these houses just keep changing back and forth. And I think it's because a lot of people go south for the winter. So the other part of this is the inspection department and community development did 641 inspections this last month. That's pretty busy. So these are mostly code enforcement and building inspections, but that's a small department and they keep pretty busy all month.
All right, and they're part of community development. Here's some other community development news from the city. Let's talk about 3840 Oregon. We've talked a lot about this property, which is, again, in a unique spot, but it seems to be moving through the city process now to turn into something new.
It does. This is a piece of property, the house that sits in Lions Park. So we had to go to the planning commission, and they made the decision whether or not to take down this house. And so that will be made on the 26th of August with the city council. The next thing that happens is we'll send out demolition quotes. They'll come back. They're going to remove all the appliances, the HVAC equipment. And then what's going to happen is the police are going to come in and do some training in the house. And after that happens, the fire department's going to come in and do a live burn. So I'm going to give you the dates on that because we really want people to know that there's police officers sitting there. Don't be nervous about that. So the police officers are coming August 14th to do the training in the house, and the live burn is scheduled for October 4th. So the fire engines will be there. They want it to be really, really safe in case it rains or something goes wrong. It'll be on the 12th of October. So all this stuff is happening. You can watch it from afar, but don't get too close to that.
And this is going to be a common theme, so be listening for more of that activity happening in just a few minutes here. But first, to a longtime business in the city that people know along Bass Lake Road, it's got a new name now.
It does. So St. Therese, which is right on Bass Lake Road, got a new owner on August 1st, and they changed the name to Wood Lake. And so there's two separate places. There's the Wood Lake Rehab and nursing home part, and then there's the assisted living and resident part. But they're both called Wood Lake, and of course it's going to stay there. They said not much is going to change inside except the name.
Let's move on now to scattered site housing. The first is 4205 Boones, a couple properties there we've been watching for a while, and I understand one is going to have a new owner very soon.
It is. The one on the corner has sold and somebody's living in there. And the one that's the next one up is just getting finished up, but they have a buyer for that, and they're going to close on that at the end of August.
And that was a property that had a lot split early on in the process. Here's another one that's working through that process now, 4220 Nevada. Give us a little background on this property.
You know, this when there's a lot split, this takes a lot longer than just getting the house. So we have acquired the house, and then it had to go to the planning commission to check out whether or not it made sense to have a lot split, and they sent it to us, the city council. We'll vote on that on the 26th of August, whether or not to do the lot split. In the meantime, they've got demolition bids ready to go out, and as soon as we decide that we're going to do the lot split, those demolition bids will go out, and then we have to wait for them to come back. The city council has to approve the bids, and then they'll demolish the property. I don't know if they're going to do a live burn on that property. I do know they're going to have both the police do some training in there and the fireplace or the firemen, but do not know about the live burn on that if they're going to do that. So this all takes a long time, and it's all got to be done. In the meantime, they'll have to survey the property to get the lot lines there before we actually do this to a builder. So this is going to be a long process. You probably won't see anything there till around the first of the year.
Got it. All right, let's move up to 5400 block of Virginia. Some activity happening here, and this is where, again, police and fire will be involved, and also that August 26th council meeting, there are going to be some discussions about these properties. What's happening there?
So there's three of them, and all three of the same thing is happening. They all will go to the city council on the 26th. We will vote on them, and then once that happens, demolition bids have been prepared. And after we vote, those demolition bids will go out, and then they'll come back, and we'll have to vote on them. In the meantime, on the 20, we got to get this right. On the 20, on August 14th, I'm sorry. So on August 14th, the police department will go to all three of these houses and do some police training. Now, police don't all work 8 to 5. They work nights. They work funny hours. They want to do some of this training in the dark in these houses. I should tell you that the power has been turned off, the gas has been turned off, the water has been turned off. So these houses are pretty safe to be in, but they'll be in and out of these houses because they need to train at night as well as during the day. And so then after that training in October, the fire department will train in these. Since these houses are close together, I'm almost certain that there won't be a live burn on any of those. But again, after that happens, and the demolition bids will go out, they'll come in, they'll demolish the houses, and we'll sell those lots to builders.
So the two properties on Virginia and then one other on 8024 50th involved in all of that process. Let's go to the business networking group. They recently had a meeting here in August, and they have one coming up in September. First, that meeting in August at a very interesting school that's in town, Linus Welding Training. That was quite the facility, wasn't it?
It was. What a great idea. You know, one thing that happens when you graduate from high school is everybody says, where are you going to college? Not everybody should go to college. And this guy that's running this school realizes that. And so what he's doing, he's training kids out of high school to become welders. And they spent 16 weeks doing this. He says, it's like any job, you have to do it and do it and do it until you just have it down. But they also help these kids find a job after that. I was surprised to hear how many females sign up for welding.
Mhm.
So welding is no longer the dirty, heavy job it used to be. They now have all kinds of equipment, but you still have to learn how to weld. And this is a perfect place to do that. I found it very inexpensive compared to college. And you have to call them and sign up. They're right on Winnetka Avenue. You can just hop in there and get some information from them.
Yeah, find
So
out
the-
more. Some classes starting in September. Also coming up in September for the Business Networking Group. They've got another meeting. Where is it planned and who's the spotlight?
So it's September 4th. The spotlight's going to be on Choice Connections. That's at 2 o'clock and it'll be at City Hall. Don't know what Choice Connections are, but I'll look that up and see what that is. But September 4th, we'll talk about that again before we get closer.
Now, in our weekly update, let's head to the police department. We talked a lot in the lead up to Night to Unite about what fun it was going to be. And now we can report that the fun happened. And Mayor, it sounds like everyone had a great time.
Well, we did have a good time. You know, there's only so many places you can go to. And I'm sure that we missed some parties. In some cases, they didn't request somebody to come. You know, we do the best we can. So I rode around with the police chief and the city manager, and all of the other police officers took either a council member or a citizen with them. And we went to 68 or 67 parties that night. So it was a huge success. We go and we ask them, what are you happy about? What can we do for you? Are there any concerns? And then all that goes back to my city manager, and he compiles that, sends the notes out to the various departments, and then they are the ones that actually do something to fix whatever the problem was.
Mm-hmm. And a great part of the night, too, is the weather was just perfect. So what a wonderful night. Next update from police is growth through opportunities. Remind us again what that is. And there's a few youngsters that are involved in that process.
We had two young men who were with us for about 6 weeks, and their whole focus was to visit all of the departments. These are challenge kids. So they visited all the apartments. They went out with the cops on National Night Out. They sat in on a prep meeting that we had for the council meeting that we're going to have tonight. And now they're just about ready to be done. And when they're done, they'll get a piece of paper that said they participated in this program. And that'll look really good on a resume for them when they go out in the real world and get jobs.
Another way that the police engage with the community is through Meals on Wheels. Recently had an officer involved in that, and you have some news about this officer as well.
You know, this is one of those fairy tale things. He's a community service officer, and he was delivering Meals on Wheels this week. In the meantime, this last summer, he's been going to school preparing for the police officer's standardization test, and he passed that. So when he passed that, we made him our new police officer. So he'll be on probation for a year, which all the police officers are, just in the whole training process to make sure that he's ready to be a police officer. But we're so excited to have him. And he spent a lot of time as our community service officer.
Congratulations. Another way the police department stays in touch with the community is through something you might not expect, through a defensive driving course. So tell us how this happens and why this is something the police do.
So one of our officers actually conducted this. There's a 4-hour class and an 8-hour class. The 8-hour class is 2 days, so the 4 hours is just one. You have to have the 8-hour first. But you can sign up for this through that Park and Rec book that you get out, and there's a number there to sign up. So this is a 7-week class. It's September and October, one night a week. It's really interesting. It's all the stuff the police do. You'll do a ride along. You'll do some training with the cars and handling some firearms. It's really an interesting class, but you need to sign up, and you need to sign up quick because those classes start pretty quick now and they fill up.
And again, that's the Police Academy, and that starts in September. And you can go to newhopemn.gov to find out more about ways to get involved and learn from that particular academy. Now to Public Works, let's talk about some of the fine work happening out in the community. And they were busy helping with something to do with corn as part of their work this past week. What was that?
They were, but you know what? I want to tell you one more thing about the police department.
Okay, sure.
They have something called Cop on a Rooftop. And they put a bunch of police officers on the top of Dunkin' Donut. And if you stop between 6 and 11 a.m., they will lower a bucket from the top of Dunkin' Donut, and you can put your contribution in there to Special Olympics. They haul it up, and then they'll send out a little coupon for a little thing from Dunkin' Donut.
Mhm.
So, they're just not out there doing police work. They're doing community development everywhere they can.
Yeah, what a great idea. All right, now let's hop over to Public Works, talk about some of their work. They're doing work with hydrants. They're also doing work with forklifts and also, again, helping out with the corn event. Give us a little recap of their recent work.
So on the fire hydrants, they have to go and check those hydrants to make sure the pressure is good in them and the water is flowing. So they open them up and this water drains on the street. So I stopped and asked them, why are you draining it on the street? Why don't you just put it on somebody's lawn? And they laughed at me and said, well, there's so much pressure that if we did that, we'd probably take out their whole lawn and along with their bushes in front of the house.
Right.
So if you see that water running down the street, it is because they're checking for pressure and they're cleaning out the lines. Now, the other thing that they were doing is some forklift training. And I said, well, what in the world do you do with forklifts in Public Works? They always roll their eyes at me. So one of the things they did do is they brought all the tables, picnic tables, to the Lions corn feed last week. And these are big tables, and the benches are attached to the tables, and they lift those up with a fork truck and put them in a big truck to haul them back and forth to Public Works. So that's what they do with the fork trucks, besides all the other stuff they do with fork trucks. They also installed a new memorial bench at Northwood Park for a person that had passed away and wanted a park bench there.
Very nice. Always a busy department, also busy with a few other things, one being the expansion of the Public Works building. Where are we in that process now?
Big building. So what they're doing, they're putting in the rebar now so they can pour the floor. So they'll put this rebar in and then they'll pour the floor inside. They've also got all the curbing and the driveway aprons already in. And the last thing they're going to do this week, I believe, is they're going to blacktop the whole area there. So it's a busy place. It'll be a while till they're done with that building. They're still hoping to be done, and they will be done before winter sets in. The whole idea with that big building is to put our vehicles inside. So on those cold mornings when you have to go out and plow, you don't have to get into a cold plow truck to do it. It'd be nice and warm in the building.
Makes sense. All right, one final note from Public Works, and that's some of those little pebbles on the street. They're finishing up a process involved with seal coating. Where are we in that process now, and where's this happening?
Well, I don't have to tell you where it was, because if it was in your neighborhood, you know it. So they put on this black sticky stuff, and then they put little chips on top of it, little rocks, and kind of press that in. And then after people are driving on it for about a week, then they do something called fog seal. Basically, it's like putting a coat of like acrylic over that. It's not acrylic, it's fog seal. And what that does is it kind of seals the rocks in so they're not just constantly all over your yard and all over everywhere. So they'll be doing that seal coating this week. And when they do that, you can't drive on it, but you'll get a letter that says, this is the time frame we're going to do, and you won't be able to drive on it in that time frame. And they'll ask you to move your car somewhere else or not take your car out in that time frame.
Quite the process there to keep those streets up to date. Let's go to Park and Rec now. A lot happening here, as you might expect. First, we're going to begin with some camps that are going on. Lots of variety here, including some very popular activities. What's happening?
They have camps all the time. And again, go to your Park and Rec book, that new one that you just got, and it tell you how to sign up. So these camps have already filled up. One is Ninja Warriors, and the other one of all things is a pickleball camp.
Mm-hmm.
So both of those are, I don't know if the pickleball camp is adults or kids, but I know that both those camps are going on this week. The other thing that's happening is this is safety camp week. Mm-hmm. So it starts tomorrow, goes for 3 days, and part of the safety camp is they go to the pool and they have training, pool safety at the pool. So safety camp, you'll see a bunch of kids in matching little t-shirts here and there and everywhere around the park and around City Hall. That's what they're doing is safety camp. And then the graduation ceremony is Thursday at 5 o'clock, and the Lions serve hot dogs and chips to the kids and their parents, and the kids get little badges and they sing their song for their group. It's really kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, Fun time of the year. Let's move ahead in Park and Rec, talk about a few other things. One is fall activities coming up. The flag football group is getting things organized, and they still need some help from parents.
They do. They need parent volunteers. I don't know if they're doing it this year, but they did last year. If you volunteered to be a coach, your kid got to play, I think, at half price or full price off. So you might want to check on that if you're interested in being a coach or interested in your child being a part of that team. So they're just getting organized and where they'll play and what time they'll play. That all takes a lot of coordination on our part.
Another part of Park and Rec you might not know about is they keep an eye on the weeds and the trees in the city. Tell us about the work they're doing here and what some of the summertime activity usually is.
Well, first of all, I am the weed inspector. As all cities, the mayor is the weed inspector. Thank goodness I have a assistant weed inspector who is also known as the forester. So the forester has been busy staking up those new trees because after they planted them and that all that terrible wind, a lot of those trees were kind of leaning. And so he's out staking those trees up so they can get a better hold and grow up straight. The other thing he does is he goes out on weed inspections. And if you're grass or you have weeds that are too long, he sends you a note that tells you to do something about that. And if you don't, you get a citation for that. And if you still don't, they hire an outside contractor to come and mow your lawn at a very steep price. And that's either you have to pay or it goes on your taxes. So it really is beneficial when you get that notice to mow your lawn. And if you can't, for whatever reason, please call the forester and tell them. Sometimes they can make other arrangements to help you. Like if your mower broke or something is going on, he might be able to help you.
Good advice there. All right, let's go to the Park and Rec facilities that are very, very, very busy at this time of the year. The first is the golf course. How are things going there? Not only the busyness now, but also some planning ahead if you want to use that fine facility, maybe in off seasons.
Well, the leagues are still going on, and they're actually going to run the leagues 1 week longer because we got cut off a week in the spring because of the weather. But the junior leagues are done this week on Tuesday, and they'll have a pizza party there in the back. The other thing that's happening is they'll start preparing for reservations for both the clubhouse after the season's over and that outdoor patio in the back. This is a great time to sign up for Thanksgiving dinner, baby showers, bridal showers, Christmas parties, but you have to sign up early because, boy, that fills up really quick.
Ice Arena also busy at this time. Tell us about some of the activity happening there and who's inside.
Well, this is called the shoulder season. This is before all of the leagues start. So there's 12 men's groups now that rent time at the ice arena. The Armstrong and Cooper, they call it captain's practice. Mm-hmm. They're practicing there, and of course they're renting that time. After Labor Day, you can actually have open skating again, not until then. So lots of stuff going on in the ice arena, lots of groups renting the ice and both the sheets. And there's some tournaments going on, as there always is in this time.
And also unique, we talk about parties at this next place, the aquatic park, birthday parties there. But I understand also you can have a birthday party at the ice arena as well. Is that right?
I just read that. Yes, they had a birthday party there. I don't know exactly what that means. I know they have a couple of rooms there that they can have birthday cake in. And chances are one of the birthday person was probably a skater.
That's right. Wants to get out on the ice.
So they had the birthday party and ate cake and go skate.
Why not? Sounds perfect. Okay, to the aquatic park we go. It's that time of the year where we're starting to talk about things closing up, but not yet for everything. What is the latest on the use of the pool?
Well, the lap swimming is done, and so is water walking. They're going to do that. The lessons are also done. So they're going to do a safety camp water training or water safety there. Mm-hmm. The sad part about all this is the pool is going to close on the 18th of August. So there will be no tot time this week. Just about everything is closed except open swimming this week. And it'll close for the season on the 18th. After it closes, it looks as if it should be open, but there's no lifeguards, and they all go back to school, and that's why it has to close. And it does take a while before they get it drained and do all that other stuff. So you're looking at it going, why can't I be in there swimming? Well, we don't have lifeguards, and we need to start prepping it for winter.
Let's hop across the parking lot and talk a little bit about the activity happening over at the entertainment center. A couple dates that people need to know about here.
Well, there's always stuff going on over there. On the 22nd, they're having movies in the park. They're doing Coco, and that starts at dusk. And on the 29th, they're rescheduling that steel drum band. That starts at 8 o'clock at that center there. That's at Civic Center Park.
All right. Hopefully people can get over and have some fun there. Final couple notes to pass along. Watch your mail now, because there's things coming into your home that are full of information. What are those documents that are coming?
Well, that fun little booklet we had for the spring and summer, now the fall one is out.
This guy right here.
That guy. It's got the fall one has two little kids in Halloween costumes. It's
Nice.
really cute. If you didn't get one, you can go to City Hall and pick one up there. Or one of the things I'm suggesting to people, if you want to pick one up for grandma and grandpa, and they can look and see, and maybe they want to give a gift certificate to the kids for a program that's coming up, and they can help use that to defray some of the costs. So it's really a nice handy thing to have. Keep the kids busy. Kids get a little antsy now that summer's just about over.
Mm-hmm. All right. Final note to pass along is the city services survey. We've been talking about that, and there's still a little window of time to get that in, but also city staff is busy looking at some that have come back early, and the earliness really helps.
It does. So you can get this survey online, or you can go to City Hall and get it. And basically it's, fill in the little dots. And then at the end, it asks for, do you have any concerns? And if you do, give us your phone number or your email address, and we'll address that concern. You have until the 1st of October to fill these out. We've gotten about 700 done so far. It really helps to have them in early, because then they're not so busy with trying to look at these concerns. Because if they all come in the same day, you can't do all the work the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So it really does help us to not only know what you think is going on in the city, know if you have a concern, and it really tells us how we're doing as a city.
Great way to stay in touch with the city and give some feedback. Again, newhopemn.gov, the place to go to get that survey and make sure you get some responses in. Stick with us. We're going to take a look at some activities happening in the community in just a minute here. But Mayor, thanks once again for the update today. I always appreciate the time and look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks, Dave. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Learn more about the connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.